Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Evil Hedgehog video. I know I'm uploading really close together, but I really felt like doing something today. So today we're going to be doing a tier list for the best characters for the new tower defense game mode in Genshin Impact. So we have our tier list here, and immediately right off the bat, we're just going to put her in B tier because she... Actually, hold on. Can I make a new... Hold on, let me see. Doesn't exist. What? Okay. I'll just, okay. Now this one doesn't exist. There we go. Alright, she doesn't exist. Yep. Right? Now, we have main character. This is going to be Geo. I guess this is going to be Animo, just so we know. Geo main character, S tier. Easy. Alright? Geo main character is really good. His rocks can act as walls between everything. He can knock enemies away. He's really good. I believe he's S tier. Albedo, I don't think he's as good. I think he's more of a B tier because he doesn't have anything that blocks enemies from moving, and his E abilities, Lotus Flowers, won't work. He doesn't really impede movement, which is like the one big thing here. He doesn't really do that. So I think he's usable, especially with Geo Resonance. It might be useful somewhere. I don't know, probably not. I think he might be usable, maybe, but not really. I think he's a B tier at the most, maybe even C tier. I think I'm gonna put him in C tier, actually. Amber has Baron Bunny and, yeah, her Pyro Arrows. I think she's gonna go in C tier too, just because she doesn't really do much with her. She can't use her ult, right? So she doesn't have her AoE Pyro. She just applies it through her arrows and the bunny, and they won't even go after the bunny, which is one of its main purposes, so I don't think it's that great. Barbara. I think Barbara is probably A tier because her ult implies Hydro and everything, as well as her E, and it's a pretty wide area of effect. I think she's A tier because she can help set up a lot of those elemental reactions pretty easily. And it's passive. You can also switch to another character and still help with the elemental reactions. Beto, I'm probably going to put in B tier just because she has the Electro AoE and the Electro Chaining, which will help set up some reactions like Overload if you don't have any Electro Towers. But if you do have Electro Towers, then her entire kit becomes kind of redundant. Except for Claymore, because she does have a Claymore. Claymore characters are good for getting rid of the shields, but if you have Overload, you can get rid of those shields anyways. So it really depends on who you want to play. Bennett, I'm going to put in B tier again. He is Pyro and has his E, which has a very short cooldown. It's good for killing the wooden shields and also setting up elemental reactions, but he doesn't really have anything to slow enemies down, and he can't do Hydro or Cryo, which are the two like big ones in my opinion that are really good in this mode. So I think he goes in B tier as well. Chongyun, I think, goes in B tier too, just because he does apply Cryo, and his E ability is passive, so you can switch to somebody else, like the Geo main character, or you would switch to Diluc, or you could switch to Razor, or anybody that you just attack with, and he will apply Cryo, so if you have a lot of Hydro Towers, he's probably a really good choice, just because of the Cryo that he implies. That's my opinion. Diluc, I'm probably going to put in B tier again, because he does apply Cryo, and he does have a Claymore, which makes him really good, but he can't use his ult, so he doesn't really have any AoE or CC or anything like that. So I think he goes in B tier. Diona, I'm going to put in C tier because she doesn't have any CC. You're not getting attacked, so her shield is pretty useless. The only thing you can do with her is spam her E ability and maybe get a little bit of Cryo off, but I don't think it's going to be that great. Fischl, I actually think that Fischl's okay. She's got a bow, which can be useful for Ruin Guards, obviously. I think she's going to go in B tier too, because she's got Oz, she's got a bow, help with implying the Electro, so you can set up reactions like Overload, Superconduct, whatever you want. I think she goes in B tier. I think that's a good spot for her. Ganyu is another S tier character because she applies cryo. She has a bow. She has area of effect. Area of effect is so huge. The area of effect of her bow is amazing, right? So you have like groups of enemies coming through the doors, and you're just able to hit them with the bow. And if you have water towers, they'll freeze. If you have pyro towers, they do double damage basically. If you have electro towers, you get superconducting, they can do more damage to them. I think Ganyu belongs in S tier. I think that's really good for her. Jean, another S tier character. Jean has Anima, which Anima is actually one of the best elements for this, surprisingly. She can basically all the small enemies, slimes and small charls, whatever, she can just suck them in with her E, and you can literally throw them off of the edge of the map and they will die. And she can knock enemies back. She can just hold the line against enemies that are like close to your gate. She's really good, and Jean is basically one of the best characters. I'm gonna put her in front of Ganyu because she's just that good. Kaya, an A tier character, just because his E applies cryo. It's good. It's fast. Has a short cooldown. You can get around quickly. I mean, he's not a bad character. I think he's pretty good. I'm actually gonna move Chongyun up to A as well, just because of the cryo that he inflicts. Because cryo is just really good for all around reactions, because it just gives you a lot more damage. You can freeze. It's very versatile. Keqing, I'm probably gonna put in C tier just because she doesn't bring a lot to the table. Her E ability is meant for moving around quickly on a battlefield, getting to enemies, hitting them quickly, and then like you can get away or something. It just doesn't really add anything because the electro it inflicts is good, right? It's electro. You can do stuff with it, but it's not a passive ability. You have to be on Keqing, and she can't do damage. And she can't use her ult either, which is a big thing because her ult is really useful. So that's something. I think Keqing belongs in S tier. Sorry, not S tier. C tier. Yes, not S tier. Klee, I think Klee is also A tier because she leaves behind her E leaves behind mines, right? So you can just set out a bunch of mines and they'll walk over the mines. They'll get pyro, right? You can use your auto attacks inflict pyro by themselves. So you're automatically inflicting people with pyro no matter what you're doing, which is really good in my opinion. So if you have Klee and you want to use Klee, I think she's a good choice for just inflicting pyro to do melt or vaporize or whatever. Lisa, I think, is either A or B tier. I think I'm going to put her in B tier just because Electro's not super great. But Lisa has a lot of pretty good attacks. Her E, when fully charged up and held down, hits in a huge AoE, right? I told you guys before, AoE is really important. That huge AoE can hit everybody in your area. It's kind of crazy. So you have her AoE, and then her hold down, her charge attack left click is also AoE, so it hits everything, right? You can basically just hold enemies back from moving by just spamming her charged attack and left clicks, so they can't move. Like in my earlier video, I did a Lisa. I perfected the second level with only Lisa, with like level 20, like no constellations or anything, and she's able to just stop shield enemies from moving because they just block and they can't do anything. She's pretty good. I think she belongs in at least B tier. Animo main character, I think goes in A tier. She's not as good as Jean because Jean can change her direction while holding E. Animo main character can't. You can still push enemies back, which is great, but I don't think she's as good as Geo or Jean because these two just have great CC. They can block enemies off, obviously, with the rocks, and yeet enemies off cliffs a lot easier than you can with Animo and C. Mona, I'm gonna give A tier. I'm gonna put in there A tier as well because she just inflicts water in a big area of effect. All her attacks inflict water, which is good for freezing, and you can do vaporize. You can do electrocharge. All those things. Water, I think, is great. It's a great element. So Mona goes in A tier. Ningguang, I don't think Ningguang is super amazing for this, just because she doesn't have any CC. She can block projectiles, but you're not going to be shooting projectiles at you, right? I guess she can break shield. I'm going to put her in B because she can break shield with Geo. She does have Geo. I think she's okay. If you want to use Ningguang, then you can go ahead and use Ningguang. I think she's okay. Noelle, I'm going to put in A tier because she gives you You don't need the shield, obviously, but she can break shields because she's got a Claymore and Geo. So I think Noelle is pretty top tier. She's really great. So I think she belongs in A tier. Chi-Chi, I'm gonna put her in C tier with these people because she does inflict cryo, but it's on a ridiculously long cooldown. You don't need the healing. She doesn't do any damage. I think that she's not super great. In my opinion, she's not great. So, I think I'm pretty sure she belongs in C tier. Razor, I'm going to put in C tier again because he's a very physical carry that's very selfish, and he doesn't bring a lot to the table when it comes to inflicting the elements you want. AoE, he doesn't have any AoE, he doesn't have any CC, anything like that. So I really think that he isn't very good either. He's not a great character for this. I think he belongs in the C tier. Sucrose. Sucrose is another one of those S tier characters because like Jean, she can just suck enemies. If you aim it right, obviously, you can suck enemies off the edge, but she can just stop enemies from moving. You just charge attack and they get blown backwards. So I think she belongs in S tier. I think Sucrose is really great for this game mode. Tartaglia, or Child, whatever you want to call him, I'm going to put him in A tier because he does inflict Hydro. He does have really fast attacks. I like his fast attacks. He also has his bow mode, which is great for taking out the Ruin Guards, obviously, because they can be pretty tanky if you don't have enough defenses. And, it can be a pain to deal with. I think he belongs in A tier. I don't think he goes in B tier because of his bow, and the bow is a great utility to have. So I think he goes A tier. Venti, another S tier. All these Animo characters are really great because, look, Venti has his E, which is CC, good area of effect, but, like, I think he's good for this, honestly. His E, just making the enemies stay in the air for that long of a time, so they can't move. It's kind of like Jean's charged attack. She also makes the enemies float. They just can't move for a while. Like, you can just use him to hold enemies inches away from your door so they can't get through because they just can't move. And I think that he's really good for this game mode. Xiangling, I think she's a B tier just because Gooba, the panda, is good for just passive pyro because he can just put down pyro. You can just plop him down, switch characters, and he'll just pyro everybody as they walk by. He doesn't last for a super long time. You can't use her ult, so you're not going to be getting a lot of the pyro. She doesn't do any damage with her melee attacks, really, because she's physical. So I think the only thing she's really good for is her E ability. If you want pyro, you can just plop her down. Zhao, I'm putting in D tier. I think he's the worst character for this game mode, honestly, because he's a selfish DPS. Animo, his Animo doesn't really knock enemies away. I mean, I guess he has some CC, but he doesn't do any damage, right? He's a main damage dealer. He doesn't do anything else. So you're not going to be able to block enemies. You're not going to be able to blow them off the edge. You're not going to be able to freeze them. You're not going to be able to suck them in. You're just going to be plunging down with Zhao and not doing anything, basically. And I think that he's probably the worst character for this game mode in general out of all these characters. Because he doesn't even do Cryo or Electro or anything. I think he's pretty bad. Xingqiu, since he doesn't have his ult, I'm going to put him in B tier because he has water. Though his recharge for his E is really long, but if you have Sacrificial Sword, it makes it shorter. And I don't know. I think he goes in the same place as Chi-Chi because they're kind of similar. They both have really long cooldowns on their E's. They don't have access to their Q's. Yeah, I think he goes with Chi-Chi in the C tier because they're kind of similar in that way. Xin Yan. I haven't played with Xin Yan yet in the game mode. I think she'd be okay. You don't get anything out of her shield, but she can apply pyro. It has a long cooldown. I think I'm gonna go C tier with Xin Yan, just because of her shield. That's just about it. Zhongli, again, his thing doesn't have a long cooldown, which I really like. His hold down ability makes you just do more damage to things with his new buff. I think Zhongli, just because of his E hold, is either A or B tier, because he can also block enemies with his E. I guess if you like stack them up, you could have GOMC and Zhongli just making a great wall of freaking leeway. So I think that's where he belongs, and this is my tier list for best characters for the new game mode, the tower defense mode. Leave your opinions down in the comment section if you have somebody different, but I think this is where everybody belongs. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all later. Bye.